Hello YouTube, Goddard Radio Mosca here again with another beer review for you as is usual. So for this one we're going to head back over to the States and we're going to do my first beer review from the state of Hawaii. And for this then we're going to visit the Kona Brewing Company. And oddly enough, this is a beer I'd seen a lot of on websites and really wanted to try this simply because it was from Hawaii actually, and it had a very good rating. But oddly enough I just couldn't find it, and then when I went to Iceland on my trip recently, it was right there in the government owned shops, the Vinbudens in Iceland, which I thought it was really unusual that I just kind of randomly managed to find it there. But I'm really excited to try this one, and I will be going to Hawaii in, I think it's late April, so I'm hopefully going to be able to try some more of their beers that you can only get on Hawaii when I'm there. So as is usual then with my beer reviews, I'll take you through a brief history of the brewery, tell you a little bit about where the beer's from. If you don't want to stick with me for that, just fast forward a few minutes into the video and you will catch that particular segment. The brewery website is in the video description for you below, along with the link to my other Kona reviews that I will add to in the future. Of course, this is the very first one there. So the Kona Brewery was founded in 1994 by father and son team Cameron Healy and Spoon Kalsa, and they released their first beers back in February of 1995. They opened their Kailua-Kona brew pub in November 1998, and to decorate this one they used a massive mahogany log that had washed ashore. They used this to decorate the bar, and they also used tin from an old Holualoa Okelehai distillery. So this is a liquor that's kind of brewed from tea root or Thai root or something. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce that, but it's kind of native to Hawaii. But they use this to create the roof for their outdoor lanai. And the brew pub sells a variety of different meals which all use various kind of locally sourced products, and they're apparently very famous for the sort of hand-spun pizzas in this brew pub. So hopefully I can get over there and have a taste of some of these pizzas at some point. Very partial to a good pizza actually. But in 2003 Kona opened their second restaurant in the Koko Marina Centre in Hawaii on Oahu, which apparently gives unparalleled views of the Koko Marina and the Ko'olua mountain range. And in 2008 they opened their third restaurant, which is their first franchise as well, and this was opened at Honolulu International Airport in the mainland terminal. So I might even get to check that out as well when I'm flying over to Vancouver when I leave, I don't know. But the company have their flagship brewery in Kailua-Kona on Hawaii's Big Island, which produces all of their local beers, but they also brew in Portland, Oregon, Woodinville, Washington, and Portsmouth in New Hampshire on the east coast of America, and they use this to produce their bottles and their mainland draft beer. And each of their partner breweries alter the mineral levels in the water that they put into the brewery so that it replicates the Hawaiian water, which is very, very cool. That's different obviously from what a lot of these mass-produced breweries do when they brew beers under license, so that's a very, very cool thing actually. But the other thing is that they like to send a sample of this beer that they brew in each of these sort of outsourced breweries back to Hawaii, and it gets tested and then approved, which is also very, very cool. So they do make sure that all the beer that you get from them tastes the same regardless of where it's brewed. So actually very, very cool way of doing things. But they say that doing this actually allows them to ensure that the customers receive a product that is as fresh as possible, and it also helps the environment. I mean, if you think how far away Hawaii is from the mainland states, I think it's probably about the same distance from as you would get between Los Angeles and New York, but it's obviously away over on the west, out from the west coast, so it's a huge distance away, and there would probably be significant costs with actually transporting all this beer, and you would probably have to ship it as well because of the weight. But as is the case with many US breweries, as I say, they're very concerned about their environmental impact, and they've got various means of lowering their carbon footprint, and I think they've just installed a huge sort of solar panel thing to kind of fuel their brewery, if you like. But they also support many local charities and sports organisations on Hawaii as well, so a very, very kind of cool and ethical company at the same time as being a very good brewery apparently. So that's your brief history of the Kona Brewing Company. Just to list some of the other beers you can get from these guys. In the bottled range you get the Longboard Island Lager, the Big Wave, which is a golden ale, Castaway, which is an IPA, Fire Rock, this guy here, which is a pale ale, and Wailua Wheat, which is a Hawaii only beer actually. And there's more beer available on draft in Hawaii, like I said. So when I do make it to Hawaii, hopefully I can do some kind of on-location reviews for you. Hopefully that should come off. I mean, I think I'm going to New Zealand at the start of April, then I need to fly to Vancouver, so I'll stop off in Hawaii on the way. So I really look forward to actually going there and being able to try some more of these beers, and obviously the beaches will be really cool and stuff like that as well. So let's get on to the tasting of this beer itself then. I'll bring up the camera and just let you have a kind of little look at this. As you can see, there's the nice artwork on there. You can see the lava flow just kind of going down the mountain, or the volcano rather, and into the lake there with a nice bit of steam. There's some people sitting there enjoying it. Maybe if the volcano's erupting, I don't think they want to be that close to it right enough, but it looks really nice. It's a nice bit of artwork. There's a nice little bit of glass work on the side of this. You can see the islands just kind of shaped out there. I'm not sure, you can see the big one there, and then it goes off into the little sort of tail islands, I guess you could say. And it does have a little bit of a thing on the side. It says, "Go with the flow. Active volcanoes on the big island of Hawaii leave visitors awestruck by their power. The glow of lava as it meets the ocean is an amazing sight. Our fire rock pale ale is inspired by this place with a bright copper colour and a rich roasted malty taste." So it says aloha for that, and it says that they describe this beer as liquid aloha. It says that on the glasswork on the bottle as well, and it says, "We invite you to visit our brewery and pubs wherever you visit Hawaii. Mahalo." Since 1994, Kona Brewing Company has been committed to making handcrafted ales and lagers of uncompromised quality. Just says that on the little top label you can see there. You can see the little, I don't know if that's a gecko, but it's a lizard anyway, and that's on their bottle cap as well. So I'll definitely be keeping this bottle cap. I always like collecting these, but let's get it out and get on with the tasting. It's a 6, I believe it was a 6% pale ale, this one, so let's get it out. So a nice kind of smoky opening there as I got it out. We'll just get it poured. As I say, I was really surprised to find this beer in Iceland, because I've wanted to try a Hawaiian beer for quite some time actually. So it was really cool just to kind of, you know, randomly find this in Iceland. But I guess this one would probably have come from you know, the Portsmouth brewery in New Hampshire. They maybe just shipped it over, because it really is from Iceland. I think it's only like a 2 or maybe even 3 hour flight up to like Halifax and down to New England and stuff like that. I'm not sure, but we'll get on with the tasting of this guy then. I'll stop rambling on about that. I'll just bring up the light, let you have a look at the colour of this beer. Just let the camera kind of settle back down. As you can see, it's a really nice kind of orangey copper colour, this one. If I put my fingers behind it, it is quite opaque, so you can't really see anything coming through it. There's a sort of half finger of a frothy white head, but that's going to go down and just become a very thin layer. And there's a good bit of carbonation visible in this one, quite a few bigger bubbles and stuff like that. Really attractive looking beer actually. It's very, very cool. So let's give it a smell and see how we get on here. Oh, there's a lot of nice kind of roasted caramel malts in this one. It smells really, really nice. A very malty IPA actually. Yeah, a lot of kind of toasted bread actually in this one. You've got a good orangey, citrusy hop character to it as well. Maybe just a teeny tiny hint of grapefruit that comes in when you sort of smell it or breathe it in a bit more deeply. But it's got a quite cereal and bready malt base, but a nice big bit of caramel coming out as well. There's maybe just a tiny little hint of earthy character to it as well. But it smells beautiful. I mean, I'm sure this will be an awesome one to try, so let's give it a go. Yeah, that is a big, big malty IPA, this one. It's got just a tiny little bit of the fruity character on the hot, just a tiny little bash of hoppy bitterness, but it's mainly a malty IPA, this one. Really, really nice, or a malty pale ale I should say, sorry. Yeah, you open up with a nice bready malt base. There's some cereal in there too, which adds a little bit of a kind of spicy element to it, but it's quite toasted and the caramel blends in with it really, really well. Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of kind of cereal spice in this one that just goes around the edge of the tongue, and it's complemented with a kind of citricy orange character that's coming out of the hops in this. It blends. The blend of flavours in this one is quite complex actually, and it blends together really nicely. It tastes beautiful. But yeah, you open up with this nice, really bready malt base, and it's got a nice kind of cereal, sort of spicy character to it as well. Some toasted character in the malts there as well. And then you just get the nice citrusy hop flavours that come out on the finish, and they kind of go around the edge of the palate there. In the middle of the tongue, you're getting that really nice kind of cereal character of the bread towards the front, and then the caramel just goes out towards the back. It's quite a dark caramel. It's not the sweetness from it isn't too sharp. It's just a sort of nice blanket, and then you've got the toasted bread on top of that. It's a really interesting blend of flavours, this one. I really like this beer. But yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. I'd quite happy go to Hawaii to drink these. it does have a little bit of a minerally quality to it as well. And I mean, obviously I've been to Iceland and tasted their beer, and it must be a thing with the volcanic environments. You get a high mineral content, and you can taste a little bit of that in the water. Not so much as in some of the Icelandic, or as in the Icelandic beers in this case. This one has a little bit more going on in the malt profile actually. The Icelandic water has more of a kind of wet mouth feel to it, whereas this one, it's a more kind of subtle mineral character, if that makes sense. But yeah, the hoppy part of the beer at the end, it's definitely an orangey citrus character. You can just feel a little kind of bubble that comes towards the front of your tongue, and that gives you the really nice kind of orangey thing. There's maybe a tiny little bit of floral character coming out here as well, and there's definitely a good bit of spice from the hops as well. And as I say, the cereal spice from the malt and the kind of hoppy aromatic-y spice kind of blend together very, very well on the edge of the tongue. This is a beautiful beer. If you do get the chance, it's definitely worth trying. But in terms of the mouthfeel, I'll definitely say this one, it's mid-bodied definitely. It has a quite oily mouthfeel, and that's what makes it mid-bodied rather than light actually. This is a kind of sipper beer rather than being a really sessionable one. I'd be interested to try some of their lagers actually, which would probably be a little bit more sessionable than this, but it's a beautiful tasting beer that I would recommend if you're getting this. Just sit and sip it and enjoy the flavours that come in. It's quite complex as well. The carbonation is quite light actually. It's got a nice kind of smooth mouthfeel as well, which complements the oily character that it has. And it's got a really nice malt base, like I said. I mean, overall this is a really, really interesting beer, and since it's kind of from Hawaii, it's very, very unique in that sense. And like the Icelandic beers, it comes from a volcanic environment, and you can detect that a little bit in the sort of taste of the water that they've obviously used in this beer. Just a little kind of minerally flavour. But anyway, overall I would say this is a really, really interesting pale ale. A very nice malt base, and the hop character kind of blends with that very, very well in my opinion. So I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. I highly recommend you check out the Kona Brewing Company. I'll be going to Hawaii at the end of April, so hopefully I can try some of their other beers down there. It'd be cool to do some more Kona reviews actually. So I thank you again for watching my beer reviews. Please comment in the comment section, let me know your own thoughts on this beer if you do happen to have tried it, and I guess I'll catch you soon with another beer review. There's many more to come. Cheers!